Hi guys, I'm Alicia, Camacho, and welcome to this week's episode. Guys, this week has been a little bit of a nightmarish week for me. Like, I had so much planned, and then Portugal was like, no, not this week. Didn't realize it was such a big deal until it actually happened. I am talking about Carnival. Imagine. Leading up to the event, which took place on Tuesday, the 25th of February, I just thought that this was just like another, like, America celebrates Black Friday, so the rest of the world celebrates Black Friday, but no, actually, like, it is a legit event that happens here in Portugal. Got me thinking, because I mean, like, I was under the impression that Carnival was just like a Brazilian vibe thing, you know, like, Brazil is like the king of Carnaval. When I started doing my research for this episode, guys, do you want to take a guess as to where the origins of Carnival come from? Do you want to? Because I was surprised, but also yet not surprised. Once again, Carnival's origins are religious. Another religious holiday. This time it's got nothing to do with the Catholics stealing any pagan holidays or overtaking any pagan holidays. No, this time it's actually like one of the original kind of celebrations. Why specifically people who are Catholic would celebrate it in Europe. In South Africa, for instance, and they don't celebrate this. But I mean, like, even in America, they have their own celebration. And again, I didn't put two and two together, but we'll get to that. It turns out that it actually holds a really, really big significance in the Catholic religion. But in Europe, Carnival is specifically celebrated before Lent. Who would have thought? I had no idea, and I went to a Catholic school, guys. My school didn't teach me any of this stuff, and I spent so many classes with several religious teachers who were like super intense, and none of them explained once to us that Carnival is actually a religious celebration. There's a reason and a purpose. Woo! You know, any excuse though for humans to make a party out of something, right? What is Lent? Because now I've just spoken in a whole bunch of gibberish and religious terminology, specifically Catholic. Well, my guys, Lent is basically the 40-day period before Easter. During the period of Lent is when you would typically either fast, like if you're really into it, like you're gonna fast, or you would give up something that is of importance to you. So you wouldn't eat any meat on a Friday specifically, but back in the day, you wouldn't actually eat meat at all during the period of Lent. Like, it was a legit fast. The period when Jesus went to the desert, and he spent 40 nights and 40 days in the desert, and he was tempted by the devil. And so Lent is basically like us trying to not mimic, but trying to understand what he went through. And I don't know why we do I don't understand why it's like 40 days of fasting and then Easter, because the 40 days occurred like when Jesus started his ministry, so it was like 3 years before actual Easter. So it's a little weird, but I guess when you're like trying to put everything in the calendar and celebrate everything, you can't take years into account. My research mostly like got me into the whole religious aspect side of it and the European angle, as always. So what exactly is Carnival? Because I mean, like, we know that in Brazil there's a lot of dancing, there's a lot of celebration, there's all of this, there's all of that, but basically Carnival, it is all about the public and street celebration. And traditionally there was a large consumption of good stuff. So like, think about a total binge out. Like, when I say people would go like hard on the drinking, on the boozing, that's the same thing, on the food, on the everything, on the dancing, on the party. It was like a legit party 24/7. That was Carnival, right? Carnival is technically sort of celebrated, nowadays it's celebrated from like Sunday to Tuesday. Then eventually you would have 40 days of nada, and you would be like hungry and stuff, and you've got to be like all solemn, and you'd be like serious, and you'd be like, it's almost Easter. People were just like, woo! So that they could be like, woo! The kind of events that would take place on Carnival or during Carnival would be like parades. Parades were a big thing. Everybody sharing food, sharing what they had, you know, creating foods and eating things and getting all like gross and then it would also be a time where you would mock authority and you would also give in to your inhibitions. Just do what you wanted to do, right? It was like complete anarchy and chaos, but sort of in a controlled manner, because then you would also have to go confess your sins. So, you know, the costumes and the masks that you would use would illustrate grotesque and gross looking bodies, because it's just human nature, right? Some of us are just yeah. In Northern Europe though, where you have like your Swedens, your Denmarks, a little bit of Germany, you would also have a similar celebration. It wouldn't necessarily be a religious like the Catholics, it would be more like, again, the pagan! They would call it Fastlaufen. I think I'm saying that correctly, but again, it had the similar sort of intentions of making a big celebration. Days were getting longer. Would celebrate that you would get more light, the sun was returning, winter was leaving and summer was on its way, spring. They believed that there would be a lot of winter spirits hanging around, and so they wanted to be like whoosh, shoo away all the winter spirits so that the summer spirits could come. The food and the fertility and the spring and all of those things would happen. New thing, new year, new me kind of vibes. It was the last opportunity for the common people to indulge in food that was going to waste. So it wasn't necessarily a thing of like the fasting, but it was like actual literal like we have no food, so therefore we're gonna just, the cold was going away, so food like lard and butter and animal products, so like meat and stuff, would technically start to go off because of the warmer temperatures, so you had to eat that all up, else then it would just be a waste. Spring cleaning, essentially. What celebrates the goddesses, the goddess of fertility, Nerthus, and then Freya, which was also the goddess of, you know, peace and good harvest and just happy summer vibes. And so Freya and Nerthus. Now, in a lot of different places around the world, it could be called different things, but specifically the Tuesday that is the public holiday, like most European places, or specifically in Portugal, for instance, it's called Shrove Tuesday, and it's the day where essentially the main carnival event takes place. Like, this is the big day deal. Shrove Tuesday, the day where you would go all out, have the best day ever, but also the time where you would like confess your sins so that you would be ready for Ash Wednesday, which was then obviously the next day. And I didn't know this. Fun fact though, Mardi Gras is also part of Carnival. I had no idea. For years I just thought Mardi Gras was this party where you just go drink and woo, collect beers and woo. No, it's part of Carnival as well, and it has a specific meaning. It means to fat eating. So again, you would binge, you would eat, and specifically you would make pancakes. I don't know why the significance of pancakes, but maybe it's just like fat cakes. Now the word, the origin of the word is actually quite interesting. So Carnaval is derived from Latin, and it's Carnaval or Carnavale. And it basically means farewell to the meat, because they would not have meat to eat until spring. If you're gonna look at it from a like more religious aspect, then it is definitely like a farewell to your flesh. Carnival would technically start on a Sunday and then conclude on a Tuesday before Ash Wednesday. But in the Middle Ages, they took this very seriously. And by very serious, I mean Carnival would last around 2 months. Start after Christmas, and it would lead up all the way to just before Lent. The whole idea was, and it was a way to let out your daily frustrations, but then also be able to confess and then prepare your body and mind, you know, get out all the temptation, so that when you're actually doing the fast, it would be less difficult, right? Like, okay, I see you. Now Pope Gregory the Great, he then decided that Carnival would then end on or the day before Ash Wednesday. You know, there was a time, there was a distinct period or like marking of when we finish the partying and when we when we start the partying, when we finish the partying. You guys can party for 2 months, it's cool, it's cool. But then come Ash Wednesday, y'all better be ready. On a slightly more darker note, Europeans are notoriously like crazy savage people. Back in the day when the festival of Carnival did start, they would do some really intense things and humiliate a lot of people. I guess it was like a punishment. Most of Europe celebrates it and has their own like certain traditions when it comes to Carnival. But then when Spain and Portugal made their way to Latin America and South America, that's when they took the idea of Carnival and shared it with, you know, the South Americans. And thus today we have one of the greatest shows on the earth, and that is the Brazilian Carnival, which is like spectacular. I think it would be amazing to see it. More specifically though in Portugal though, because I did not know that Portugal took this so seriously. Portugal calls it Carnaval with an A instead of an I, and it is celebrated in a lot of cities around Portugal, like all around Portugal it is celebrated. So I'm going to read off my list of where exactly it's celebrated, so just okay. So Ovar, which is near Aveiro, which is actually like 20 minutes from me. It's celebrated in Sacimba, it's celebrated in Madeira, Lolé, which is in Algarve, Nazaré, which is pretty close to Lisbon, and obviously Lisbon celebrates it in different areas of Portugal. They also have their own kind of traditions that they celebrate during Carnival. One of them being, and it's a type of tradition that actually scares me. It's nothing bad, but it like literally gives me the heebie-jeebies. I look at that and I'm like, no. If Pudens, Lazarim and Torres Vedras, they celebrate the tradition of, so Careto is a Celtic religious ritual that it involves young men dressing up in these colorful woolly fringe kind of outfits. They look really weird, but go Google it and you'll see what I mean. And the guys wear like these masks, and it can either be a brass, wood or leather mask, and then they have belts, and then on their belts they have like rattles, so they make a noise when they walk. It's essentially, they essentially go around the town like ransacking, scare people and make a noise and like scream. It's basically a courting sort of vibe. And what's your wife? They'll be going to the young ladies, young single ladies, and they'll be like, I'm here, love me. And then in the city of Estereja has one of the earliest records of celebrating Carnival in Portugal. They have a record dating from the 14th century. I don't think a lot of people knew like the background history and that it actually related to Lent. Like that blew my mind. I wasn't expecting it. That is the end of this week's episode. If you want to follow me on my social media, Alicia Camacho _official on my Instagram. If you would like to buy a book, the links are in the description below, so please do support me. I really appreciate that. Remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel and share this episode. Remember, you are awesome, you are great, and you are loved.